Hi, I'm Therapod7. You can call me Thero, and this is the Gekishin Squadra Goku Character Guide. Um, Welcome to this new series of guides where I'll be explaining each of their abilities and how to use them, as well as playstyles and loadouts. And at the end, I will be ranking Goku on a tier list, which I will build upon each time I finish a guide. To start this series, obviously, we've got Goku, who, of course, is, and as he should be, the everything character. He's a jack of all trades and does everything he's trying to do well, but perhaps not as well as some others. He's a damage character who has quite a fair amount of health to rely on, and even has impressive speed. I would say his best aspect is AoE damage. But Goku's concept is powering up skills with Kaioken, which I will get to once I explain his third ability. His passive lets you give buffs such as damage up when allies are defeated and shows you the killer's position regardless of where they're hiding. His first ability is Kamehameha, which releases a very large energy wave in a straight line, which has very good range at max level and can be used to damage opponents running away or not yet near you because of its giant hitbox. It's also very good at sniping bosses and mini bosses such as Nappa. As most things are with Goku, it's pretty straightforward. His second ability is Meteor Hammer, which has him leap forward and overhead slam his fists into the ground. Its main draw is good range and exceptional damage at max level. But it is also quite straightforward, just like skill 1. But speaking of not being straightforward, skill 3 is Kaioken. And this is where things get very interesting. Activating Kaioken on its own gives Goku a short but huge boost to speed, damage, and defense. This is pretty useful when fighting someone, so you can run away or keep up with them if they are running away. But where it gets really cool is if you combine it with skills. Using Kaioken whilst the skill is in effect will amplify it, such as on Kamehameha. It will make the AoE slightly bigger, and also gives enemies caught in it movement speed down. And when using it on Meteor Hammer, it gives an extra hit and staggers opponents. It can also be used with Spirit Bomb, which gives more damage and a slight extra hit at the end. But speaking of Spirit Bomb, it is Goku Super with a gigantic AoE that damages on a set position. The more allies are alive gives this super more damage. Now, as for his playstyles, Goku is very naturally flexible. He's good at supporting from a medium range or a close range. He's very good at killing opponents who get a little bit too cocky with his good movement and big AoEs. It's always very good to stay hidden on Goku and snipe priority targets such as Super XP, Cell Juniors, Kais, and bosses. But I would say his best playstyle is being very aggressive. He is, at the moment, the damage with the most movement, and if you ever find yourself in trouble, you can easily make use of Meteor Hammer and Vanish to get enough distance away before using Kaioken when you start flying to escape completely. But at the same time, you can pounce on and surprise enemies from very far away and deal tons of damage with this speed. But one thing to note and always keep in mind is that Kaioken movement buff, which I just mentioned, where you might be thinking to save the Kaioken for extra damage. It definitely can be a better option to use it to quickly get to a boss which might already be attacked by the enemy team, or even a friendly god of destruction which is about to be attacked. So always keep that in mind to use it to get somewhere very quickly. Another thing to Goku, which is not actually limited to him, is he's a transforming character, which means that until he gets to level 7, he's going to be considerably less powerful than most people in the roster, He'll have much less health and damage than before and after he transforms. Though that doesn't mean you need to transform as soon as you get to level 7. One use of transforming which makes them quite powerful, is the full heal you get when activating it, which lets you be quite a bit riskier, because you can heal if you need it, which might be exactly what you need to get the edge over your opponents. But be careful, because the transformation takes a short time to activate. So if you take too much damage, it might be too late, and you'll just die. But as for loadouts, I think with Goku, you can pretty much go with any you want. Personally, I would say you should not put most of your levels into Kaioken or Spirit Bomb at lower levels, because the use of them is not as good as they are in higher levels, whereas the two other offensive options are generally something you always want to have at as high as they can be. I would recommend putting less levels into Spirit Bomb. At lower levels, maybe when you reach level 8, you don't make it level 2. But if you get to 5, you certainly could make it level 1, because it's still very useful for sniping bosses. It does a lot of damage, but the AoE is so small that it's practically useless when you actually fight people. You're never going to hit anyone with it, unless they're just not moving, which is why you want to prioritize your other skills. And as for Kaioken, it's at lower levels, it might be just about enough to keep it as level 1. You might not need to get to level 2 or 3 until later, even though getting it at 3 gives you 2 separate uses, which gives you, whatever you need it for, 2 extra damage boosts on skills or movement, which is very useful. But at lower levels, when you're not before level 8, you might not want to get it at skill 3. But if you're in Super Start, you definitely could get Kaioken maxed out from the start if you want. It's just personal preference at that point. But in conclusion, I think Goku is a character who can be a monster in the right hands, but is still beginner friendly. And as I said earlier, he's very straightforward, which is why this guide is pretty small. I think the best way of knowing how to play Goku outside of me just telling you now is experience. Goku's one of those characters who I don't think you need to know too much about or read too much about. All you need to do is see and understand what Goku is doing, and I think you can do it well enough as long as you're decent at the game. He's very good at snowballing, and sometimes it can feel a little bit hopeless when being underleveled against a Goku, but I think he very nicely fits into A tier, just below S, since he's very capable, but I would not say he's broken. We'll get to that later. But that is it for this one. Again, it is pretty short for Goku, which makes sense. If you like to know about, say, perhaps card loadouts you'd want, I would recommend full damage on Goku. On any damage, I would always recommend that. That's just what you should want. You should not lead into the tanky side of him, even though he's quite a bit tankier. And maybe you could go for some blue cards, but generally, it's best for him to just be exactly that, a damage character. But anyways, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. And I promised, I said to my friend last time when he watched my last voice video, I was heckling for support. So please support me. Please, I need it. Please. That's it for now. Thank you. Bye bye.